me thank Dr. Griffin for his remarks. Just sitting here listening to him, I feel good about the direction that the Pentagon is moving in. And Secretary Mattis and the conversations that we've had with him, I think things are moving in the right direction. If I could say a couple of things early on about the current political climate and the importance of your activism and initiatives and lobbying on behalf of Directed Energy. But let me first just say, to kind of build on what Dr. Griffin was saying, there has been a concern in my office for almost my entire career watching the Chinese government in particular and the Russian government more recently of the long-term strategic plan that the Chinese government has on the economic, political, military front coming directly to challenge the interests of the United States. We see it in my area of the country economically, in Northeast Ohio. We hear it often from businesses who are trying to compete in China with regard to intellectual property, copyright, other issues. There is a plan that they have that is long-term, robust, and we see it when we travel. We're in Africa and we're hearing about Chinese bases in Djibouti and other bases that are going to be built. We see it with their relationships with African countries to try to get at the natural resources that they have in those countries, to make sure they're fueling the economic machine back in China. We see it with the bases, the islands that they're building that Dr. Griffin mentioned, and militarizing those islands to continue to project force out into the Pacific. We see it with their investments in submarines and cyber. There is a plan. And to those who don't think that the plan is getting executed or appreciated in some sense by the Chinese government, I think the move in the last couple weeks to say to the Chinese leadership that we're going to get rid of term limits because we want you to keep executing the plan should be a signal to all of us that we have a serious competition going on. And there are a variety of things that we need to do in our country. And part of it is, if I may, say that we've got to get the politics right. We have a very divided country, as you may have noticed. And it's the politics today divide us. We need to reestablish the purpose and have a purpose-driven politics, because purpose unites us where politics divides us. And we've got to find some common ground so we can get to some higher ground and do the kind of things that Dr. Griffin was talking about, expediting the process of the technological advancement. These are the kind of things that if we don't get the politics right, we're not going to get the process right. We're not going to get the reform right. We're not going to get the investment right. We're not going to get the budget right. And so we're all responsible as citizens to help make that happen. We're not going to agree on everything, but if the purpose is to create a strong, vibrant, robust United States, economically, militarily, culturally, socially, then we've got to come together. And we've got to realize that that purpose of creating opportunity for our people, for all the people in our country who want to work hard and play by the rules, should have an opportunity to advance. That's our purpose as a country. And that means in the field of the military that we focus on technologies like directed energy that have the potential to continue to protect our country. And I don't think I need to tell anybody in this room why robust federal investments into directed energy is absolutely critical to our national security. And no one can sit in classified briefings, as I have, and learn what our adversaries are doing right now and not feel a keen sense of urgency to invest more into these technologies. That's why I'm here, and that's why I bring this topic up in budget hearings in my committee. That's why I'm a member of the Directed Energy Caucus, and why I tell my congressional colleagues about how important this is. And I want to say thank you to Congressman Lamborn, Congressman Langevin, who are doing a fantastic job with the Directed Energy Caucus. It's a great resource to me and my staff, and they are real leaders in this bipartisan issue. And I also want to mention the great work that Senator Heinrich and Inhofe are doing from the Senate Armed Services Committee in providing policy guidance and authorization for advanced DE systems. And I know we will be hearing shortly from some of the staff from that caucus. We have to keep U.S. technology ahead of the threats so that we can effectively counter threats across the spectrum versus trying to catch up. And I have to admit, and most of you probably feel the same way, that since sequestration, too often feels like we are playing catch up in the United States. And that's what I mean when I talk about our politics. We've got to get our politics right. We've got to find a common purpose of protecting the United States and increasing an economic advantage for our citizens. Directed energy can be an important part of this, and it can be an important part of the arsenal because of the potential to address a wide range of threats ranging from nuclear, ICBMs, to hypersonics, to rockets, artillery mortars, to UAVs, and small and fast boats. Directed energy weapons have unique characteristics, including speed of light engagement, ability to replenish the magazine when you have a robust power supply. The summit will be covering important non-lethal applications today and the Homeland Defense Focus session, which I wish I could stay, but I can't. So take care of business. And I should also point out that my role on the Congressional Manufacturing Caucus is complementary to the Directed Energy Caucus and what you all here, with the help of Mark Neese, are doing to strengthen our domestic defense industrial base. It's also worth noting that the potential commercial applications for this could be great. And again, these are things we just don't know. We saw it with GPS, what the end use is for our citizens in the private sector. And I also am interested in how we are going to be able to address the domestic supplier base gaps critical to the production of the directed energy systems. And the DE industrial base contributes to STEM job creation in places like Akron, Ohio, and Youngstown, Ohio. So again, we want to make sure that the investments we make from the Defense Appropriations Committee and through the military are a force multiplier through the commercial and industrial sector. That's the focus that we need. That's the purpose of our government, that giving the taxpayer the best bang for the buck. And as Dr. Griffin said about shrinking the process from idea, concept, signing the contract, to actually getting these weapons in the field. So we face these challenges on the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, choosing between very important programs. But I believe that this program, that the Directed Energy Initiative, needs to be a priority. And I like what the budget looks like this year and into fiscal year 19, almost $1 billion to move us from low to high gear in what we need to achieve and accomplish in this area. And we need you to be a key part of the advocacy effort. You're the experts. You understand this. And what I would just say is be active and involved, not on Capitol Hill, but out into the countryside too, where many of your facilities may be. And directed energy, I believe, captures the imagination of the American people. And it's important for us to leverage that excitement into communities all across the United States. And the young people coming out of college now, for them to understand that we do want to continue to have a technological superiority over these countries that are coming after us, and that it is a national effort, and that these young people need to be a part of it, and get them excited about participating in government service or going to companies that are continuing to try to build out these exciting systems, whether on the military side or on the commercial side. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about what's happening here. We've got to find the common ground behind some of these programs and initiatives, and you're a big part of that, as not only people who are involved in this particular project, but also as citizens. We've got to reclaim the purpose of the United States. There are a lot of people around the world that rely on us. There are a lot of people in our own country that rely on us. So these investments are critical for us to continue down that road. Thank you.